Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The show is about to begin.
Welcome to the podcast, concerts that made us, interviews and stories, tales from the bus. We love taking you back to when it all went down. The greatest live shows and the cheering crowd sound. It's concerts that made us, concertsthatmadeus.com.
On this episode of Concerts That Made Us, I'm joined by Artie and Darren from Damn Your Eyes, a New York-based metal band with a sound I know you're going to love. And before we listen to one of their tracks, I have to tell you this is the final episode in Season 2. We will be back later in the summer, but in the meantime, keep an eye on our socials for a couple of surprise episodes along the way. So, without further ado, let's get on with the show.
It happened once again. A conversation with myself. Stranger from within, who talks in bitter tones. Instrument of death, black hand of arrogance. Taking stock, let's start.
Artie and Darren, you're very welcome to Concerts That Made Us.
Well, thanks
Glad
for
to be
having
here.
us.
I'm delighted to have you. I've been looking forward to this one now for a while. So we might as well get straight into it. We opened the show with your song Weaponized. Would you like to tell us a bit about it?
That's you,
Go ahead,
Oddie.
Darren. Go ahead.
Me?
You do it.
Come on. All right. So, Weaponized is a little bit different for us. Not too much. We went a little bit more pockety with the groove and just took it to a real melodic place. Kind of touched our Alice in Chains side, I would guess you would say, if you had to compare it to something. And kind of Artie really went deep with the lyrics and try to make it, a song about, reaching into the inside and when you're experiencing some stuff that's going on in your life. And he did a fantastic job with everything. I mean, I can't say enough. I mean, the song speaks for itself, but when that song came to the table, it was just like, what are we going to do with this thing? And it evolved as we were writing and working on it. It evolved. And then by the time we got in the studio, it totally evolved. And Gabby took over with all these melodies and everything. And then they added the vocal melodies. And along the way, I changed the drums because the drums were pretty typical double kick, follow the riff kind of thing. And then I had this brain idea one day because I'm a major Toto fan. I was listening to a lot of Jeff Porcaro, and I just went with it. I said, hey, I'm going to try something different. Do you guys mind? They said, go with it. And what you hear on that track is what I came up with. And I'm really glad we went that way instead of the typical follow what the trend is.
Yeah.
We kind of went on our own. So it's a brilliant track, and I think it's one of our best. So
Yeah, it's definitely a great song. It's the tempo is kind of slower than your usual stuff, but it's still pretty heavy. It kind of hung on to the heaviness of it.
Yeah, it's all about the groove for us. So we try to catch a groove in all of our songs, no matter how fast it is or how heavy it is. It's really we're really a groove orientated band. And the darkness of the song and kind of like the darkness of the riffs and stuff. It makes it heavier than something where you're just chunking on a riff. So heavy comes in all different levels. And this one has a heavy content and a real heavy groove that we enjoy the song so much. We enjoy playing it. We loved recording it, and we're really happy that people are digging it. That's a big thing. We write for us. We don't write for other people. We write us, and the fact that anybody likes our stuff just blows our mind to begin with. We feel so grateful and humbled and blessed.
Yeah. You mentioned the darkness of the lyrics. There is kind of dark themes within the song. Is it from personal experiences, or do you approach songwriting from a point of a character?
This is a personal experience piece, not necessarily that I did bad things, but it's about bad thoughts. It's about bad thoughts getting out of control and changing who you are internally because of the level of upset you are. Some of the songs I write about other people or that, but most of it comes from personal experience. I relate to songs that I could plug into my life, and most of the time it's written about something totally different, but it means something different to me. I personalize a song. So, that's kind of the route that I take with this stuff. I write personal, and hopefully, other people can plug that into their lives like so many people do.
Do you mind putting a bit of yourself into the songs? Is it kind of like therapy to kind of express yourself through the lyrics?
Oh, absolutely. The whole writing process is therapy for all of us, but when it comes to the lyrics, it definitely is a therapeutic experience, and I try to stick to things that, I could hear over and over again and not get sick of, I've lived an extraordinary life. I've had a lot of really wild experiences throughout my life, ups and downs, you name it. I've kind of been through it. I always say I kind of lived like 100 lives, and so, it's very therapeutic to put down something that you've been through, because you kind of look at it differently yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And the band as a whole, I'd love to let the listeners know, how did you guys come together? What's the story behind the band?
Uh, well, I started this in 2015 with me and a drummer, and it was just, I had just gotten sober. I stopped drinking and doing drugs, and I got the fire to play again. And so I'm like, I'm going to do something. So I started writing, and then I got together with the drummer, and we were just jamming on stuff and writing songs. And eventually, Kenny, or singer, I reached out to him. I had gone out on tour with Harley Flanagan. I used to play for Harley Flanagan, the Chromags. And so I got on tour with him, and Kenny was living in Arizona, and I kind of reached out to him. And eventually he moved back to New York because he wanted to do this with us. And as soon as he joined the band, Oddie joined the band immediately, because I wanted Oddie to play with us. And he's involved in other projects himself. And he said, I'm not really going to join something that's not ready yet, and because I played with Oddie in a lot of different things growing up. I've known him my whole life. And once Kenny joined, Oddie called me about 10 minutes after we posted it and said, I'm in. So that's how it's really started. And then, it didn't work out with the first drummer. We went through a few drummers, and then during the pandemic, we had to let a guy go, and we found Darren, and Darren plugged in perfectly. He's everything that we were looking for, personality wise, playing wise, attitude wise, everything. And I played with Gabby. Gabby played with me in Harley Flanagan, and he had left Harley's band, and we stayed in touch throughout the whole time. And I asked him if he wanted to be involved with this, and he jumped on it right away. And he was the only guitar player that I wanted in this band. I had some other ideas, but it just, I don't know, the way that me and Gabby work, it's a different thing. So he jumped on it, and now we have this lineup, and it's been 2 years now, strong, and we've been just plugging away and writing songs and booking shows. No matter what happened during the pandemic, we just kept going after it. So that's kind of how this whole thing came about.
And Darren, from your point of view, how did you feel the first time you heard the band?
I loved it. I mean, I'm a groove guy. Even though my background is thrash and death metal, that's what I kind of 25 years did. That was kind of my thing, but I always plugged groove into everything. My favorite band of all time is Pantera. So right then and there, that's it. You're locked in. So their groove was something that struck me immediately, and the riffs and everything about it was perfect. I had just left, like I said, my band of 24 years. We put it to bed for once and for all, and I was kind of looking for something new. I was kind of jamming with a New York hardcore band. Didn't work out, and Artie reached out to me, and I immediately got to work. Learned about 12 songs in about 9 days, and we jammed during the pandemic at his house, and everything just hit off. And he looked at me and said, "Hey, if you want the job, it's yours." And I said, "I'm in." And that was it. A couple of weeks later, we jammed with Gabby, and immediately, it felt right. Like it was the most calm, exciting, perfect feeling I've ever felt jamming in a band. And it's only gotten that much better, since day one. So it's exciting. It's been a real great 2 years, and I can't wait to see what we do moving forward.
You both touched on the pandemic there. It was such a dark period for the music worldwide, and lots of bands couldn't play. How did you guys approach it? Did you use your time wisely to perfect and write lyrics, write songs?
All work. That's all we did. We worked while every other band was like, we're not going to jam, we're not going to do this, we'll see what happens, everything's closed down. We got to work immediately. We learned all the old songs, made sure we had them in the pocket so they were ready to go. So if anything, this ended, we were ready to go for shows. And then we started immediately working on new material, got that all worked out, went right into the studio, recorded 3 songs, and then started releasing them over the course of a year. And it was fantastic. I mean, and never lost a step. And whenever anything would come up, we'd be ready to go. And we've kind of just continued that. We just, there's some stuff that's going on personally for me right now. And even through that, we work right through it. We just don't stop. We're almost like a freight train where you can't stop us. Like we have our eye on a prize and we're shooting for it, and we're never going to stop. So the pandemic actually was good for us. It got us to really put our nose to the grindstone and get to work, and that's what we did, and it was fantastic. And I think, I maybe this is wrong of me to say, but I think if we didn't have a pandemic, I don't know if we would have had much work done, right? Because we had all this extra time. Guys were out of work, we weren't doing stuff, and we were able to just get in there and just go, and it was fantastic, and it paid off in the end because we recorded 3 killer songs, and then here we are, and we have 3 other songs that we had worked on and recorded. So, Weaponized being one of them. So, it was a fantastic time, definitely.
You're probably one of the very few people that would say that, but I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear that you actually used your time wisely, and were so productive and turned it into a positive almost.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's the only way we looked at it was that we're going to take every second that we have and every moment that we have to make this work, and we're going to make it work. And it worked out perfectly.
In every negative is a positive. And in my life experience, the worst of times end up always being the best of times for me. So, as horrible as the pandemic was and the loss of life and, the uncertainty of everything, we looked for the opportunity in it. And we just seized the moment. That's all you could do is, we just kept one foot in front of the other. And, next thing you know, we're in the studio. The next thing you know, we're starting to do little shows here and there that we can. And here we are,
Yeah. So I love asking bands this and hearing the different answers I get. But what are the values behind the band? What do you want to achieve? What are your dreams?
The values behind the band? I know that we'd like to conquer the world. We'd like to be out and break it and have, people see what we have going on here and end up doing some big tours and kind of, living that life, a life of music where we get to write and do that stuff. Our core values as people are, we're all kind of similar and we're all different, so we see the light in each other, and we recognize that we don't try to change each other. We don't try to do anything like that. We're all there for each other. This is a very family oriented band where we look at each other as family. We stick by each other's side, and Darren, you have anything to add to that?
I mean, you hit it right in the head. I mean, the other thing is we make sure that everything that we do is fun first and foremost. Because if you're just doing this to do it, what's the point, right? We have an absolute blast. We bust each other's nuts every time we get together, be it practice, a show, a writing session, whatever it is. We're always cracking on each other, and that's important, right? I mean, you got to have that kind of bond, right? And that's what we have. We have that. It's more than a brotherhood to us. The 5 of us will forever be attached as brothers. I mean, but like Artie said, we are family first and foremost, and then we are the musical entity that we are. And I love those guys more than anything in this world. They mean the world to me. So
right back at you, pal.
Yeah.
I think that's you found the secret ingredient to making a band work.
Yeah, fun. Actual having love for each other. If things go the way that we're shooting for, we're going to be spending a lot of time together. In a van or in a bus or whatever it is, and you have to have the right kind of group of guys to do that with. It doesn't mean we don't butt heads. It doesn't mean we have disagreements or anything like that, like any other situation. But we have a way of handling it, and with a loving touch. It's not like this is how this is going to go. Everybody's got to do this. You do this. You do this. Everybody contributes equally to the band. It's not one guy pushing everything. I do the bulk of the riff writing, and then I bring it to the guys, and everybody just helps tweak it and adds their own things. And there's no fighting and disagreements where it's where it gets vicious at all. It's just like we all want the best for the song, so that's how we work. We work, this sounds best for the song. And Gabby and I, when we go in the studio, a lot of times we'll change riffs a little bit here and there and while we're recording. So when the guys get the recordings back, they're like, oh wow, that's different. It's all about just really making the song the best that we can and to showcase what we do. And we've been doing it a long time, so I guess we picked up a couple pointers along the way.
Yeah. And since the podcast is Concerts That Made Us, I'd love to get a taste of your guys' concerts. So for anybody that's listening that hasn't had a chance to see you yet, what can they expect when they see you play live?
Energy. 1000% energy. That's what it is. I mean, you're going to get that heavy groove in your face every time, and we're never going to leave you disappointed. Just how we do it. We work hard to make sure our shows are perfect. I mean, there's always going to be a little, you miss a note here, you miss a beat here, I miss a cymbal there, whatever. But we really pride ourselves on being that band that takes the time to really work. And then we just give it to you. We sweat out and bleed out everything in us to give you the absolute best show. And that's important to us because we want you to leave with the impression of that band was fucking incredible, right? That's what you want. You don't just want to go up there and go through the motions. You want to go up there and be like, what was that? Like, I mean, because that's always something to me. Like, and it doesn't matter. I'll give you a great example. So I'm not a big new music fan at all. Recently, I took my son to see this band called see Slipknot, and they had this band Wage War open for them. Didn't really know who they were. A younger band. They've been around maybe 5-6 years. They blew me away, and I will tell you now, they blew Slipknot off the fucking stage.
Oh man!
In my opinion, my kid even said it, and he's the biggest Slipknot fan in the world. So that's what I look for when I go to a show. So I know we all want that same thing. We want you to come to see us, whether you know who we are, you don't know who we are, and leave there going, yeah, that was a show. So,
yeah, you say concerts. This is concerts. Talking about that whole thing. When I first saw Pantera, I watched a band that just brutalized their set. They just crushed it the whole time, and they were having the time of their lives doing it. You could see that they were enjoying what they were doing and having a good time together. And that's what you'll also see at our shows is that we have a lot of fun together on that stage. We rehearse together, we do all that stuff together, and when we get in front of people and we feel their energy and we give them theirs, and it's push and pull back and forth, and we're having a blast doing it. I mean, we're so lucky to be able to do this. We're not a bunch of spring chickens. We're guys in the middle of our lives here, and we put together something that's very hard to do. It's very hard to put together a band that's everybody's very talented and everybody's got a good attitude and everybody's not looking to be the star. So when we get out there, we're having so much fun together. We feel so lucky to be in this situation together. And then we feel so lucky that people are enjoying it and we get that response. When we stop a song and that crowd, they give us that thing. It's just like, whoa, this is what it's all about, and that community, that family that we have together. We like to try to, I think that shines from us and people feel that.
Since I have to ask, since you said you're no spring chickens, how do you guys get energized and motivated for a show?
Geritol? No. You know what? It's before any show, you're gonna get that adrenaline going. It doesn't matter how old you are. You have the little fears, you have the anticipation. Is anybody going to show up? You have all this stuff going on, and that's enough. Once that first chord hits and we're in it together, that's all it takes, man. The adrenaline just shoots through your system. We're not up there doing backflips, but we're definitely, giving it all we have, and we're not that old either. It's not, we're no spring chickens, but we're not that old, and we all take, relatively good care of ourselves. So, that's it doesn't take much to get us excited, and with our adrenaline pumping.
You might have to think now about this answer, but can you tell me the best experience you guys have had at one of your gigs?
That's a good one. I would say the last show that we did out here on Long Island, because we don't play out here much. We do a lot of city gigs and stuff. But we did a hometown show. Oddie and Artie are from a town called Valley Stream. And we played this bar called the Railroad Inn. And we packed it wall to wall. We were blown away. It was fantastic. And the energy and enthusiasm and just everything that went into that night was so incredible. I haven't felt that. I mean, and Artie has too. Artie's played with, and Gabby, they've played all these big shows. I haven't felt something like that in years. And it was for me, it was monumental, and it meant the world to me. And then we're doing that. We're going to play that place again in like 2 weeks on the 21st.
Oh.
And we're going to do it all over again. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait.
Yeah, I would have to say that might be also. And when we did Amityville in July,
that was a good one too. Yeah,
that was the first show after the pandemic. That was a really rocking time. And but playing, you know what it was is we got, we were canceling shows because of COVID, and then some people wanted, vaccination cards, and that's a lot to ask a fan base to do. And, everybody's got their own personal opinion on that stuff. And, we're not above playing a bar. It's not like clubs or, concert halls or arenas is all we do. That's not what we do. By the way, we never played an arena, but
not yet.
But not yet, right? But, so it's just like, you know what? Let's go back to the roots. Where we started, which was in bars. All of us at one point were playing bars when we were kids. My first show out was 16 years old, and let's do it in a place, that Oddie and I grew up in. It's, we still have friends in the area. A lot of people live on the island. It ended up being one big reunion. There's so many people showed up that I haven't seen in so long. And there was a ton of people I've never even seen before in my life, which was really cool. So, doing these shows and doing it with Fire is Murder, which is my friend Steve Gallo's band, and doing it with Eddie Sutton and the Leeway New York City thing that he's doing. Leeway is one of my favorite bands growing up. It's just so much fun, and it's basic, and it just shows that it humbles us. It shows we're nobody, but we'll play anywhere to anybody just for the fun of it, and we have a lot of fun at these events.
Yeah. And not to get too negative now, but we'll flip it around. Is there an experience you would say has been the worst experience you've had on stage, and how did you overcome it?
Well, we did a run out in, I believe it was October. Darren wasn't with us on the shows because he was going through some health issues, and our friend Mike Podber filled in for him. And we did 2 shows in Ohio, and the first show, they were pumping these shows up for us. And the first show we played to the staff
Right.
of the bar, and we gave it all we had. We didn't care. We were okay. The staff is our crowd, but that's what we're playing to, And but I got to tell you that I don't hold on to negative experiences like that. It's just we're on to the next thing, and so I don't have a moment where it was like, oh, this is just terrible. We've in the beginning we've played shows where the drummer we had just stopped in the middle of the song, or all those kind of growing pains that you go through. But I don't have one thing that's just the worst. Even playing in the staff was fun for us.
Darren, what about you?
Not really. I mean, it's so far the runs have been pretty good. Like I missed that Ohio run because I was going through some stuff. But other than that, I mean, everything's been pretty solid as of right now. So we'll see as things go on. But right now, I think we're on a good pace. So that's a good thing.
Good. It's one of the few times there hasn't been much negative experiences mentioned when I asked that question. So it's always good to hear. And as concert goers, would you say there's any concerts you've been to that have made you?
For me, it's Pantera. I saw them 26 times. They're my favorite band.
Oh man.
I traveled across the country to see them. Again, those lights would go out, and I knew that everything was going to change right in that minute. No matter who, if they were headlining or if they were opening for Black Sabbath or whatever they were doing, that band I owe everything to, because they formed me musically into who I am. And I will forever be grateful to those four gentlemen from Dallas, Texas.
I have to actually, the first time I saw Pantera on the Vulgar Display tour was a game changer for me. I've never seen anything like it since. I mean, I've seen everybody. You know, I've seen Slayer a million times. But just that time that defined me as a person, and that, you know, that's who I locked onto, that band. You know, I mean, I love so many different bands. Don't get me wrong. You know, but you know that, you know, and then like seeing Iron Maiden, like the stadium bands playing, you know, the Metallica and the stadium bands, it just brings it to another level. Just, you know, because you realize that so much goes into those shows, so much more goes into those shows than the smaller venues like that I saw Pantera at. But it had to be Pantera. The place went nuts. White Zombie opened up for them. I had never heard of White Zombie before until that night, and just the whole experience, the whole night. You know, when Pantera came on and wall to wall, the place lost its mind. It lost its collective mind, and it just, you know, people that dive in and jumping off. It was mayhem, and it was like, oh, this is where I belong. This is my Graceland.
Same.
Sounds like the perfect gig, heaven almost.
Oh yeah,
everything. Yeah.
And before we move on to the last couple of questions, what is next for you guys? Have you got anything locked in the future?
We just got a couple gigs coming up. Like I said, we have the show on the 21st, and then we have a show in New York City with like Leeway and Rage and a bunch of hardcore bands. It's a little festival. It's a matinee that Drew Stone put together, and that's going to be fantastic. I can't wait for that. And then we have a couple songs we're sitting on, and we're just kind of seeing how Weaponized, you know, kind of takes off, and see what we kind of make a plan around that.
Yeah, we're you know, we're in the hunt for some serious management. You know, we definitely need that. And you know, we'll see where these songs take us. You know, we might go in and do a full length. You know, everything's pretty much up in the air. We take things as they come. You know, we have some shows, we have some opportunities coming up. We've been getting some tour opportunities that really didn't fit for us, so we didn't take them. You know, we're trying to be wise. You know, we all have lives outside of music, so you know, we have to pick our spots where we're going to fit in the best, and what works for us financially too, because you know, touring is a financial commitment, and the economy is not doing so well, and gas prices are up. So in order to really do it, we gotta do it right. But you know, we'll see what comes down the pike. We're working with some great people right now that are really pushing us, and you know, we're very happy with that, with what's going on with them. So we're okay with being patient, and we know that if we just keep putting in the work, eventually, you know, success is where opportunity and preparedness come in. You know, we prepare, and when the opportunity comes, we'll seize it. That's it.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer in, when you work your absolute ass off at something, no matter how long it takes, the success will come. You know?
Same, right? Yeah. Same philosophy.
Yeah, all of us feel that way.
Yeah. And the whole online thing nowadays, it's a nightmare for the music industry, you know, for bands trying to get new followers, stuff like that. How do you guys approach it? How do you find it?
Kind of just got to play the game, right? I mean, it changes all the time, right? So, I mean, I could tell you 10 years ago, the Facebook game was completely different than it is today. I mean, there's so much blocking that they do now, and they don't let you, like, you used to be able to take a video from YouTube and share it and you would get likes.
Yeah.
Now that they don't want to deal with Google, you got to put it in the link, the comments and like just try to beg people, and the reach is hard and the algorithms, and you try to do stuff from your band page, you try to do it from the personal page. It's very weird.
Yeah.
But you just kind of got to find the right groove and just kind of run with what works, and that's kind of what we try to do. We're not 100% there yet, but we're working on it. And, as we work with new people, they kind of show us the way to, hey, try this or try that. So that's kind of how we look at like the online thing right now. Streaming, I mean, that works right now. We're doing very well with streaming. So, and at YouTube. So those two are great, but it's trying to figure out the socials because it's once you hit that algorithm, it's just, you got to really fight to get in there. And it's weird because Facebook doesn't really accept hashtags, but Instagram is all hashtags, right? So you kind of got to balance that out. It's just a weird thing. I don't know why it's just not more simplified, but whatever. It is what it is. And we work through it, and we've had, some success with it, and we're getting more followers as of late with the release of Weaponized. So that's great.
Yeah. Artie, anything to add to it?
No, I'm an idiot. So Darren does the majority of the socials for us. I did it for a long time, and he's just better at it. I'm a very busy person, in my life. So he's more than happy to do it. He loves doing it. He's good at it. Darren's great at networking with all that stuff. And like I said, it's just part of the game. You got to play it. I guess, do we want to do it? No. Would we like it to go back to just, CDs and that kind of stuff and word of mouth and the way that it used to be when we grew up? Absolutely. But it's never going back there, so we just have to, face it as it is and do the best we can, man. You know what? You just put your best foot forward and you got to live with it. You got to be okay with it,
What I really hate about it, though, is that it's like it's really stacked against you. It's almost it's like it's making you fail, or it's set up to make you fail. Like, you could have thousands of followers. You put up a post or a new video, and 10 or 20 of your followers will see it unless you pay for ads. Like, how is that even fair or even allowed, If it was any other business, it'd be banned.
Yeah. It makes no sense to me. And I try to figure it out all the time. So like, I could personally post great chicken sandwich and I'll get like 3,000 people saying, yeah, man, thumbs up, hearts everywhere. Check out Weaponized. 2 people. And I'm like, all right, so cool. You like the chicken sandwich. You don't really want to check out the song. Okay. That makes sense. So everyone on my page, like, is metalheads, right? And they're all music nerds, and they're right. So it's not like I'm reaching out to like grandmas or like my aunts or my uncles. I'm reaching out to like hard rock and metal people, and like stupid stuff will get 1 million likes. But hey, check out our new single on Spotify. 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're exactly right. It's kind of stacked, and it's weird. It's like, I feel like those algorithms are set up to like push things away, right? Like, they'll let, hey, happy birthday, Jack, right? They'll let that through, but like, come see my band play, or, support this or whatever. And it picks words and just kind of, nope.
Yeah.
So it's real weird because people say it all the time. Like, hey, I didn't know you had a new single out. When did you release the single? I'm like, oh, well, it came out like 3 weeks ago. Just saw the post right now. Really? Okay. Makes sense. So.
Yeah. It's a nightmare. One thing that's supposed to be a lot fairer, though, at the moment anyway, is TikTok. Have you guys thought about jumping on that platform?
I wouldn't even know where to start. My kid has TikTok, and I don't know. Sometimes I watch him watching it and I want to like blow my head off because it's just crazy. But I'm seeing everyone do it now. Like, I just saw Whitesnake has one now, and I'm like, Coverdale's using one? Okay. So, I mean, and he's like 70, right? So it's like, okay, so if Coverdale's using it, maybe I look at it. Because I do know that from what I've heard, that the reach is much greater and there's less of a, I don't know, like algorithm, right?
Yeah.
It kind of, the algorithm actually works with you kind of. And that's what my kid said, because he like posts, my kid's obsessed with like sports cars, and like sometimes like a Lamborghini will be in the neighborhood, he'll video it and post it. He'll get like 350 likes. And I'm like, well, that's kind of impressive. Like you just posted a car going by for 8 seconds. So maybe something we got to look into. I don't know. I gotta look at it.
So stay tuned for our TikTok.
I mean, Artie has great hair and he's a fantastic dancer, so anything's possible.
I was just going to say, I can't wait for them dance trends.
Listen,
I'm just gonna put my Pitbull and everything, and put Pitbull, and it'll get 1 million views, because that's seems to be the thing.
Yeah.
And I asked my son the other day. I said, do you post videos on TikTok? And he says no. So I knew I was successful as a father. But maybe to be successful as a band, we need to go on TikTok. I don't know. I'm not opposed to really anything. I'm not chomping at the bit either. So I'm kind of nonchalant about the whole thing. It does beat, stapling flyers to telephone poles.
Yeah.
So if we could get out there and do that, and get more people involved, that'd be great.
Yeah. Well, don't rule it out anyway.
No.
And we'll move on to the last couple of questions. If there was any band or artist from history, dead or alive, you could see in concert for one night only, who would it be? That's not Pantera.
No, it's a good question.
Yeah, no, I was going to answer that.
You go first, Audie. Give me a minute.
I don't know. I probably Michael Jackson in his heyday.
Really?
Yeah, probably.
Oh.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot, actually.
Yeah, but the guy was amazing. Regardless of whatever people think he was or whatever, just the guy was phenomenal. And back in the Thriller days, to see him during those shows would probably be the most amazing thing in the world. The guy was an extraordinary entertainer and performer, and that would be cool to me. That's the first thing that popped in my head. So that's my answer.
Good one.
I'm gonna go with Rainbow with Dio,
Nice.
because I'm a massive Dio fan as well, and I love Rainbow. And the Rainbow Rising album was massively huge on me growing up. My dad was a Rainbow fan and a massive Deep Purple fan. My dad's seen Deep Purple like 40 times. So yeah, I'd say Rainbow with Dio would be pretty badass in the 70s. Hell yeah.
Sounds like two pretty great concerts there. And the next one, we're getting a bit trickier. If there was any performer or artist from history you had to spend 24 hours locked in a room with, who would it be?
That's a good one.
Wow.
Really makes you think.
That's a lot.
I'm reevaluating my life right now. So many interesting people out there. I don't know. I like to have fun, so I might just pick somebody fun, like Ozzy Osbourne or something. But wow, maybe Steve Vai.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah,
maybe Steve Vai. Yeah, 24 hours in a room with him, I'm sure we'd end up picking up guitars, and I could pick up a few pointers from him. He was one of my favorites growing up, and he's just so smooth. So maybe Steve Vai.
Good choice. It definitely wouldn't get boring anyway.
No.
Yeah, and for me, typical drummer answer, right? Neil Peart, absolutely. I mean, forget that the guy is probably one of, if not the greatest rock and roll drummer of all time, right? But genius, right? Those lyrics, he was so philosophical and just everything. Like, and he's funny. Like, no one really knew that side of Neil, but if you watch I've watched tons of documentaries on him and stuff. He was a real fun guy, and he just enjoyed life. and he's always into like driving cross country on motorcycles. I think that would be cool. Like, I don't know. So yeah, probably Neil. Neil's the man. Let's go with Neil.
Another good one. Another good choice. And the next one, I'm afraid I have to apologize. It's another one that's going to make you think.
Oh boy.
Is there a song that would appear on the soundtrack to your lives?
Song that would appear. Let's see. That's a good one.
The wheels on the bus go around.
That's it. That's the one.
Perfect choice.
That's what I thought. I don't know. Like I said, I've lived 100 different lives, so there's so many. I'm actually gonna pick "For the Love of God" by Steve Vai. I could go with that soundtrack. It's moody. It's all up and down. It's and just basically, there's so many different things. There's angry music. I could pick a song from that. There's this kind of music, but as far as just a beautiful tune, and where I am now in my life and how settled I am, and how at peace I am and happy I am, I would settle for "The Love of God" by Steve Vai.
Sounds like the perfect one. So
yeah, that's a toughie. I'm gonna look. I got to do it, but I'm gonna go back to those four gentlemen from Texas. I'm gonna say "Strength Beyond Strength" because that's me, man. Strength beyond strength. Every day, I wake up and I just fight and I do what I got to do and never give up. So my words to everybody: if you hit a bump in the road, you never give up, and you just keep going. And that's me. So that song, many, many years ago, changed who I was. I was a very angry, violent young man with a very awful attitude, and something about that song changed me. And so I'm going to go with that one.
Brilliant. Couldn't be any other one by the sounds of it then. It's the perfect song for you.
Yeah.
And the final one. Is there something I should have asked you, but I didn't?
I don't think about myself that much, so I don't know. I don't know. No.
You did a fantastic job.
Yeah. We touched on everything. We talked about the guys in the band a little bit. We talked about pretty much touched it all. We're just thrilled to be a part of this and be talking with you right now.
Brilliant. I'm glad you're happy with it. So
there's no breeze. Sounds you can't explain. Foreboding feelings of dread. Sheer horror. This is Haunting Abaddon, an original podcast from Epilid Media featuring stories of the paranormal, demonic possessions, poltergeists and hauntings, and all things that will scare the hell out of you. These things do more than go bump in the night.
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I for one surely did. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate and review us on iTunes. Your 5-star review will be read out on the show. And don't forget, you can now rate us on Spotify. You can find and follow us on all social media at Concerts That Made Us Podcast. And don't forget to check out the website at www.concertsthatmadeus.com. And if you'd like to support the show, you can do so by signing up at patreon.com/Concerts That Made Us. So, until next time, keep rocking. Hey, what are you guys still doing here? The show is over. It's over. You can go home. Go on. We'll see you next time. We'll be here. Bye.